Tomorrow, it's Valentine's Day. I hope you're ready. I profess my love for my wife, my daughter, my family, my life. But I think I like to profess the love for my hammock. Yeah, I would have never known this little sack of cloth to become a muse of my life. Let's talk about them. The things I love about it. And just like everything in life, there's a couple of things that maybe annoy me.
I don't want to get out of here. Ooh, I'm warm as can be. Well, I was until I pulled this camera out. Now I feel the cold on my hands a little bit, but decided to crash out here in the backyard for no other reason than I could. And it is minus 14 degrees right now. Right out here in the back 40. Minus 14.3. Really, the reason I wanted to come out was to try out this Superior Gear hammock. I've got both my underquilts on here. Well, I got one underquilt. The Superior Gear hammock, I've got the 30-degree snap-on underquilt. And I have the built-in 15-degree in it, and man, I slept really warm. Good to know. Kind of just testing for a trip. And bring this instead of my pod. And I got my Jacks or better 0-degree High Sierra Sniveler. And I got my Hammock Gear 30-degree top quilt inside that. And that kept me warm. Okay, fingertips going numb. Gotta turn this off for a second.
Oh, why do I profess my love for my hammock? I think one reason is because every time I get in it and lay back, I hear myself go, ah. Another reason I love my hammock is I can sit up while putting my boots on. Another reason I love this hammock is the consistency of sleep. I regularly sleep 10 hours, sometimes 11, sometimes 8. Another reason I love my hammock is laying in the morning, watching the day come to while having breakfast from the hammock, gnawing on a peanut butter pap tart, and having my medaglia d'oro, or medaglia d'oro, instant, or pour over, espresso, while laying comfortably, covered in down, and watching the world wake up. I'm excited for the time when it's finally that time of the evening and I'm walking toward my hammock to have my slumber. Yes, that's right. The Sultan of Sleep will lay on. I'm excited about getting in there, whether it's fair weather or whether it's weather like today where it's minus 1 degree. And I don't care 'cause I'm out here between a fence and a tree. Can't you see? Another reason I really like my hammock, it rejuvenates my body. That's right. For you young people out there, when you get to be my age, 62 years old, and for those of you that are older, you know what I'm talking about. Walking all day with a pack, no matter how many miles you go, takes a little bit of a toll on you. And no matter how I feel, and you know those days in camp where you drop your pack, you're going down to get some water, and you just feel like, man, I just feel like I'm doing the Frankenstein walk. A night in my hammock rejuvenates my body. Somehow laying in this little sack of cloth that encompasses me, that envelops me, that wraps itself around my body. Unlike a tent where you're laying in there in a hammock, you're basically wearing this thing. And I wake up feeling like a 37-year-old dude. When I went to sleep, I was a sort of a 62-year-old old boomer. Yeah, it rejuvenates me. I think one of the other things I really like about a hammock is I've got a chair at camp. You know, my tarp is pitched. It's a rainy day. I'm sitting under with my stove. I'm making myself a coffee or, you know, some ramen noodles or something. And the tarp is over me and I'm watching the rain or the snow or whatever come down, and it's just hitting all the leaves and plants out there, and I'm sitting high and dry and I'm sitting up. Because again, at my age, I'm uncomfortable sitting on the ground. It's not that the ground is uncomfortable, it's just the position of my body is. And this way I can sit up, I can lean back, I can meditate, I can gather some zen. So just sitting and enjoying the woods is something I really like about the hammocks. You know, one of the other reasons I really love my hammock is because Back in 2006 when I got into it, it rejuvenated my backpacking. It was a few years that went by when I didn't camp, and I realized, you know, I gotta go camping again because, you know, once you let a few years go by, you may never go again. And I wanted a way to have my coffee in the morning comfortably. Rediscovered hammocks. I had an old Lawson. But anyway, that discovery, that learning process for me, it was something new. It was a new way to camp. It just reinvigorated my backpack, and I was excited to go backpacking more so I could succeed and fail learning this hammock. That worked for me. That includes my love of tarps, because for me, I'm a guy that likes to wake up. I want to see the woods. You know, I'm willing to take that little bit of a chance of sometime I might have to break down all my gear if I've got a sideways rain and sit it out. But I enjoy that aspect of a tarp. One of the cons, some people don't like that about a tarp. They feel like they're exposed. They feel exposed in a hammock. They feel vulnerable. They feel like they don't have any privacy. I'm out by myself a lot. It's hard to have privacy with yourself. There's times I don't want to look at me, but I have to. I think anybody that hammocks has a little bit of an introverted quality to them, because you want to go and be in your own little area. And there's times, sometimes, you know, you're camping, your hammocks are fairly close to each other, like me and Hickory on some trips, but most of the time, we're pretty far away. So when you're out camping with your friends that are in tents and hammocks, you can still find your little spot away from camp and be in your own little place. You don't have somebody laying right next to you snoring and farting. You're just waking yourself up with your own snoring and farting. You're waking your own self up with your stomach grumbling. Wonder if it is a wildebeest outside your tarp. Another thing I liked about the hammock is it was something new. Something new. You know, you go through life and, you know, I wish I could go back to 2006 and start learning hammocks again. But once you've learned something, you've learned it. And if you ever want to be new at something, you have to take up something new and be brand new at it. Doesn't matter your age. You're new. You may discover you're great at it. You may discover you're not that good at it. And it makes the things that you did before even better, because after failing at something, you go back to the stuff you're good at and go, "Hello, old friend. Good to see you again. Sorry I stepped away." But no matter where I camp, no matter what trees I'm between, my hang might alter just a little bit, but I'm always in this position. I'm never on a rock or a root. I'm hanging in the air. I am wearing this cloth. Such a simple thing, but there's alchemy to it. It's more complex when you camp in it than one would ever think, thus leading to some of the cons of the hammock. All right, let's get serious here. I didn't even want to talk about this. We've got pros and we got cons, and I can't do this video without talking about some of the cons of the hammock. One of the main cons is you got to have trees. You got to find 2 trees, depending on the length of your hammock, somewhere from 12 to 17 feet apart, although sometimes you're going to find yourself hanging, you know, 10 or 9 feet apart with kind of a suboptimal hang, sometimes 20 feet apart, so your suspension comes into it and your choices of suspensions. And I did a video not long ago about the learning curve in a hammock, and I'm going to link that right up here in the corner where you can check that out and see all the mystery and all the things you'll face where something so simple as a hammock, it seems so simple. It's either very intuitive to you or it just pops your bubble. It just soggies up your socks. It just wrecks your day. You're never able to crush your strawberries again. Oh, your milk is sour. Insulation in the hammock. That right there is enough to break some people. Going through pads, getting to under quilts, deciding whether you need a top quilt when you could use your sleeping bag. All this is a con. It's perplexing and it confuses people, and quite frankly, it puts a few people off. Another misconception is that you get into a hammock and you can set up quickly. Oh, I'll be the first to set up while my friends are still setting up their tent. No, it very rarely works that way. It's just not common to get to camp every time and there's 2 perfectly spaced trees right in the perfect place where you can just throw it up and have it hung and be done. No, a lot of times you got to go searching for the perfect trees and make sure that your tree is alive and healthy and is not going to fall on you. So, trees, setup time. Often it takes longer in a hammock. Don't make it a competition. Enjoy the setup time. It's part of the fun. You think about it, you're a backpacker. Your gear is in your pack. You're not going out to survive. You have everything you want. So enjoy getting your toys out of your pack and playing with them. Are hammocks costly? Are tents costly? You know, you can go to Walmart somewhere and buy a cheap tent. You can go to REI or some high-end camping store like Midwest Mountaineering and buy a tent that might cost you $800. That comes down to you. Depends on the quality you want, the style, how many, what material. Is it a cheap knockoff? Is it a cottage industry product, whether it's a tent or a hammock? So is it costly? Yes, can be. Underquilts aren't cheap. You can make your own for cheaper. Partial underquilt is less expensive than a full length. A 40-degree underquilt is less expensive than, say, a 0-degree. So there's a lot of variables there. So is it costly? Depends on where you live, depends on your temperatures, depends on what weather you camp in. Another con about hammocks for people is the tarp life. A lot of folks have camped all their life in tents, but have never pitched a tarp. If you're going to sleep in a hammock backpacking, you've got to know how to pitch a tarp and pitch it correctly. So that is an art in itself. So learning to pitch a tarp, so learning to titch a parp, pachatot, tikata, have a pop-tart, learning to pitch a tarp properly, covering both ends of your hammock, the angles you want, porch modes, the different ways, the setup for weather. Do you want it high? Do you want it low? How do you set it up for winter? Do you want doors or not? Do you want a hex tarp? Do you want a sil nylon, a sil poly, a DCF or a Cuban fiber tarp, Dyneema tarp? The privacy issue. A lot of times with a hammock, people don't feel very private. People have often asked me, where do I change? Well, I'm only out with friends or by myself. So I just drop trowel and change. You know, if you can get a large tarp, you can make yourself a very large tarp. I just like to announce to people, I'm getting ready to change. If you want to see a lot of white meat, you might want to look, but I'd advise turning your back. Step behind your tarp, do what you have to do, but that is a con because some people feel exposed and they feel a lack of privacy. All right, another con is hammocks take practice. Now you can buy a tent, and even if you get a new tent, you should practice setting it up in your backyard a couple of times. Know how the poles and the clips work, you know, how the tighteners and how your outer tarp goes on, or if it's a lightweight tarp with a single wall, ultralight, you know, set it up a couple of times. A hammock is going to take a little more practice. You got to learn to get the hammock hung, find your sweet spot, deal with your insulation, deal with your tarps, deal with your suspensions. There's a lot more to it, and it takes a bit more practice. And if you're a person that likes practicing things, I do for the most part, and I'm a lazy guy, then you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy the fiddling about. If you don't, enough said. I don't think a hammock's going to be for you. Feel no shame in that. Go to your tent, enjoy that, and love every minute of it. For some people, the hammock, getting in and out can be difficult. You know, getting in, you gotta lift your legs and you gotta get in, but once you're settled back, and I'm kind of on top all this down right here, you gotta, you know, use your ridge line, or some people have a hard time sitting up, twisting out to get out. So the actual act of getting in and out of a hammock can be difficult for people. And yeah, Hennessy had those bottom entry hammocks that make it a little bit easier. That might be a way to get in and out of your hammock. But just that fact, I've talked to people, you know, online and through YouTube who have let me know they just have difficulty getting in and out, and I feel for them. And yeah, bottom line, for a tent, you know, you can get down on all fours and crawl in. So that might be something for you. So that's a con. You know, a lot of times here's something, and I'll admit this, and I hope I don't come off this way. Sometimes hammockers just think they're better than tenters. So hammockers, just keep it on the QT. You know what? It's like if you just want to inspire people by your actions, not your words. Hey, I don't know if I do it enough, and I feel like I need to do it now, but thank you. Well, all of you folks that subscribe to me, and you know I've never asked you to subscribe. I never even asked you to like. You never in one video heard me say, please subscribe and like me. No, I just can't. And I just hit 100,000 subs, and I want to thank all of you for it. It means a lot. I wouldn't have even known had people not been kind of commenting to me that it's coming up. I just don't even really look at that stuff that much. But to any of you that have watched these videos, and whether you learn something from them or whether you just like to sit there and are perplexed by my actions, had a guy reach out and said, well, sure, you're kind of awkward. I don't care. We have to be ourselves. So thank you for that. And I just want to thank all of you for continuing to watch the content. And a little special thanks, my daughter Ariel just had some more of her shug hats. You know, she's a knitter. She's got an Etsy site, like my Etsy site, where I sell my art prints. By the way, I just finished a Cappy Coleman one for those of you that requested. But she does her shug hats. I don't have one on right now, but it's a hat I hike in a lot in the winter. Has pine trees on it from Minnesota. I think it's more of a balsam spruce than a pine. She calls it a pine. I think it's a spruce. Could be a fir. She just had knitted a bunch and asked me if I would tag it on a video, and I just put it on the community page, and a lot of you bought them, and she wanted me to tell you thank you to all of my, how did she put it, lovingly strange subscribers. Thank you to all of you subscribers. Thanks to all of you that purchased those hats, because like me, she's an entertainer, and with the pandemic, she lost all of her work. All of her gigs got canceled, so she's going to be able to pay her rent this month. -3 degrees. Time to work on my Brian Boitano. I love coming down here at night, just skating around a bit. But I enjoy working on the rink as much as I enjoy skating. Oh baby, -6 down here today. Got a little light snow last night, got to clear it off, so let's keep some good ice. All secure in Sector 7.
It's Cappy Coleman here. Happy Halloween! You'll have a rotten one, along with your brown rotten banana. You got fruit fly, yeah? I got my candy chewer.
Woo, buddy.